How's the writing going?
This is Coraline. She's a physical stop-motion puppet. Now all we're really seeing here is a big yellow jacket moving around. But it's moving in this very convincing human-like way that gives us the illusion there's an actual body underneath. How did they create such a lifelike illusion? They gave her an actual body underneath. That's a lot of effort to go to, just to create a frame to hang a yellow coat on. So why go to so much effort? Because without building a proper framework, she wouldn't have been a believable character. Audiences are very good at picking up on bullshit. If a character feels off, it shatters the illusion and kicks us out of the story. It doesn't matter that her legs and her neck are too thin. When she moves, she comes to life. I've gone too deep in this analogy, but fuck it, let's go deeper. This is Dave, by Michelangelo. He was known for his ability to bring his sculptures to life. He was also known for being obsessed with anatomy. He used to dissect cadavers in secret just to study the body's inner structure, because he believed great artwork had to be grounded in a precise understanding of muscles, bones, and proportions. Now look, am I telling you to go to your local cemetery and dig up dead bodies? Yeah, I am. Alright, let's just watch some YouTube. Now this guy's a professional artist. He's going to explain the importance of understanding anatomy in order to draw believable characters. Now I know this has nothing to do with writing. I'm going to tie it all together, so just shut up and watch.
With knowledge, you can design the body to make changes. You can decide what to exaggerate, what to eliminate, or what to add that's not noticeable in the reference.
By the way, reference just means the model of the character you're trying to draw.
When you're able to change your reference, you're no longer a slave to your reference. You can call on it when you need to. You can ask it for inspiration, and you can create your own unique work of art that stays true to your own vision and to the story you're trying to tell.
He's basically saying, if you understand the anatomy of your reference, it equips you with the power to make interesting changes.
You can create characters that don't exist in reality. You're not going to find a model that looks like the Hulk or a zombie. This has to be invented. With a high level of understanding and some creativity, you have the power to create whatever characters you want.
Now this concept is extremely relevant when it comes to writing characters. It's also extremely underused. But if you can learn how to build a proper framework for your characters and understand their inner workings, they're going to go from this to this. Now, we are not painters or sculptors. We don't have the luxury of dissecting dead corpses in order to understand their inner workings. As writers, we must delve into the murky depths of the mind and emerge with a mental map or a framework of understanding from which we can start writing believable characters. Now, there's a lot of character creation sheets out there that attempt to do just this, but they're all kind of shit. One of the worst offenders I see is that character creation questionnaire. You know, it's like, what's in your character's fridge? What's their favorite tree? What kind of porn did they watch? The hope is that if you collect enough of these random facts, you'll somehow have a complete understanding of your character. But if you're writing a scene where your character is held up at gunpoint, knowing their favorite pizza topping isn't gonna help you. What you need is a through line, one that turns these random facts into manifestations of the character's core beliefs. Here's how you do it. First, read all these books. Once you have a perfect understanding on human psychology, simply create an easy-to-use, 4-step character building roadmap that focuses on the subconscious core belief structure. Pause the video here, come back when you're done. Okay, now if you followed my steps correctly, you would have ended up with this. The entirety of human psychology summed up in 4 simple steps. The beauty of this system lies with these red arrows. Everything is linked, there's causality. It's not just a random assortment of incongruous facts. Now, like all good things, we start with a bit of childhood trauma. This is just a bad thing that happened that made us feel bad, like being bullied or abandoned, or in my example here, brutally rejected. And that triggers a belief, a coping mechanism to ensure the trauma doesn't happen again. The key here is that it's subconscious and it's unhealthy. So in the example, the brutal rejection teaches me that girls equal pain and that I'm unlovable. So to avoid the pain of rejection, I just go it alone for the rest of my life. This step is always a massive overreaction to the trauma to ensure we never experience that pain again. Next step is deciding how this unconscious belief manifests itself in all aspects of life. Think about how it affects them socially, their hobbies, their fashion sense, whatever you can come up with. So in the example, These beliefs would cause me to have no close relationships. I'd be a socially awkward virgin who stays at home on the weekends with his anime body pillow and chatting to his AI girlfriend. So this step is basically, how has the overreaction to the trauma ruined your life? Final step here, justifications, commonly referred to as the lie we tell ourselves. Basically, it's how we explain all of these unhealthy manifestations. Because remember, the real cause of these manifestations lies down here in the subconscious. We're not aware of it. So to prevent us from confronting the truth, our brains come up with this convenient lie we can defer to. Honestly, it's kind of fucked up. For instance, in the example if I'm asked about why I'm a loner virgin with an AI girlfriend, I don't need to face this. I can just come up here and say, oh, I prefer it this way. I've got no time for dating. And by the way, this isn't just some wacky theory of mine. This is a well-established model of psychology. I've just simplified it down for character building. Now, if you wanted to, you could just stop here and you'd have a solid foundation for your character. But we're not done cooking yet. The way to complete the dish is we combine this with personality theory. Wait, why the fuck do we need personality theory? Aren't we done? Look, mate, you've made a good start, but there's still a bunch of different directions you can take your character in. And you're gonna have to choose a direction eventually. So why not just choose? You don't fucking know me. What? Look, I'm just trying to say, you want to make sure the direction you take your character in, or their personality, remains consistent with that inner belief structure you've already built. The ultimate truth of reality is that unless you're a sci-fi writer from the 1950s, your character is going to end up with a personality. And that personality has already been studied and explained by personality theory. So you're better off knowing it or choosing it deliberately to ensure it's a good fit and to take advantage of all the accrued knowledge. There's a lot of different models, but when it comes to character building, the Enneagram is by far the most useful, because it deals on the why. It's rooted in the subconscious urge that drives all characters. You can think of the 9 different Enneagram types as 9 subconscious strategies for getting your needs met. For example, if you know your character's an 8, you know they have a basic desire to be in control. A cool feature of the Enneagram is these different levels of health. So if you want your Type 8 to go through a character arc, all the stages of growth have been mapped out. They can start as courageous heroes, become proud and egoic, and later become murderous sociopaths. Alright, let's put this into practice. I'm going to show you exactly how I use these 2 things to create a fully fleshed out character. Let's go. Okay. Her name is Mia, she's 42, and she's a farmer. Her trauma was her perfect childhood was ruined when her dad left her mum for a robot. This triggers the belief that to avoid losing more family, she must avoid technology. Remember, this core belief is supposed to be a huge overreaction that pollutes the rest of her life. Smia becomes a farmer. She lives off the grid. She spends her time with the spiritualist counterculture communities. She's very down to earth and she loves humanity. And she justifies her lifestyle by saying technology just doesn't resonate with her aura. Now we've made a decent start, but I don't yet have a good grip on Mia's character. It's at this point I like to bring in the Enneagram, assign her a type, and that should really flesh her out. By the way, this framework isn't set in stone. Like, we're essentially about to go clothes shopping for Mia. If we see a cool dress that isn't quite right for her, well, we can always update her framework to make that dress pop. Now any of the 9 types could work here. What I like to do is just select one at random, try it on, see if it sparks joy. Okay, we can work with this. So one's driven by their strong sense of right and wrong, the greater good. They've got a passionate anger for anything that doesn't live up to their standards. That's classic 1 energy. I can already see how this is going to jive well with Mia's disdain for technology. But what I like to do at this stage, to help give me a good feel for how exactly to channel this 1 energy, is I like to watch a bit of YouTube. This is a great channel. It shows off all the different Enneagram types through popular characters. Watching all the different Type 1s in action will help give us a good idea for what to do with Mia. And they include these little snippets from the Enneagram book that further describe the inner workings of Type 1s. Eddard Stark and Captain America are both good examples of healthy ones.
Win wars. Guts.
Grenade! Get away! Get back!
So if Mia was a healthy one like these dudes, her disdain of technology would have to be rational and reasonable. She'd draw from her experience of how technology ruined her family. She'd be a perfect role model for returning to nature and real people. But she'd be uncompromising and selfless, because she'd have a higher purpose of helping humanity. So that's healthy Mia, but maybe a more unhealthy version is more interesting.
Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
So if Mia was like this, she'd come more from a place of arrogance and self-righteousness. Like, she'd think she's better than people who use technology. She'd look down her nose at them. If you use technology around her, she will let you know, in no unsubtle way, that you're a piece of shit.
You were over the line, that's a foul.
Bullshit. Mark it 8, dude.
Excuse me. Mark it 0, next frame.
Bullshit, Walter. Mark it 8, dude.
Smokey, this is not Nam, this is bowling. There are rules. Hey.
This guy's even more unhealthy than Hermione. He comes from a place of, I'm right, you're wrong, you better step in line or else. It's a lot more anger.
Has the whole world gone
Crazy! Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules? Mark it 0!
They're calling the cops, man. Put the piece away.
Mark it 0!
Walter, put the piece away.
Walter?
You think I'm fucking around here? Mark it 0!
If Mia was like this, her convictions would be more radical, and she wouldn't be afraid to act on them. She'd give off those kind of nutjob, conspiracy theory, school shooter vibes. This would go quite well actually with those like off-the-grid, cult-like communities she's in. I'm feeling it. Thanos is like the end boss of unhealthy ones.
This universe is finite, its resources finite. If life is left unchecked, life will cease to exist. It needs correction.
You don't know that!
I'm the only one who knows that.
He's so firm on his radical beliefs about what needs to be done for humanity that he always comes across as healthy. But he's not, because he murdered billions of people, and that's illegal. So if Mia's like this, she's gone way beyond simply having a strong sense of right and wrong, beyond even a moral high ground. This is more like a divine mission. No doubt she'd be blowing up data centers or some shit. But it's important to remember the why. She'd justify her terrorism by saying she's doing what needs to be done for humanity. But in reality, this all just comes from her being a scared little girl who's afraid of losing her family. So we looked at 5 different flavors of Mia. How do we choose which one's best? Honestly, they're all equal, they all work. But for me personally, the one that sparked the most joy was this one. I like the idea of Mia as an unhinged player in some anti-tech cult. Unreasonable rigidity in her convictions, goes around destroying technology using bombs from her homemade farming fertilizer. Just remember not to get too caught up in the manifestations. If you spend time building a coherent framework, everything else will flow easily from that. This is the end of the show. If you enjoyed watching me build a character, let me know and maybe we can do it again sometime.